Abigail is a fun vampire flick about a bunch of people trapped inside a house and picked off one by one by a vampire. Saying anything more will probably spoil the film, so I'm going to spoil it for you now. The vampire is a little girl actually, and the twist of her being a vampire, it was sort of expected, mostly because I saw the trailer and the trailer spoiled that twist for me. I don't know if I would have liked the film more had I not known this, but I liked the film in spite of the reveal. I liked the film quite a bit in fact. Look, I'm a sucker for this kind of movie. A bunch of people trapped in an enclosed area and a monster on the loose hunting them. We've seen this in many films before. The Divide, Green Room, 10 Cloverfield Lane, Pelco Experiment, Escape Room, Saw, Cube, Purge, 1408, Quarantine, Autopsy of Jane Doe, Pontypool, Descent, 30 Days of Night. I could go on. The point is, I love these kind of films because they're essentially the same premise, but they're still such unique stories by themselves. I love them. And that's what Abigail is. It's a film about survival in which a bunch of bad guys are trapped inside a house and are trying to hide from a vampire. Abigail apparently was made by the same people who made Ready or Not, Scream 5 and Scream 6 and VHS. There are a bunch of people known as Radio Silence, which is a cool name. Anyway, Radio Silence are the folk who made both Ready or Not and Abigail, and you can see the similarity in the two stories. In the setting, in the execution, in all of it, it shows. Even the closing scene of the two films are exactly alike. So it's essentially the same film, except it flips the script in that here, instead of having one person being chased around a huge house, like in Ready or Not, you have a bunch of people being hunted down by a vampire in a huge house. After all this time, it's a little hard to remember what happened in Ready or Not, but I'm quite sure I like the film a little more. Mostly because the characters are set up much better in Ready or Not. In Abigail, I don't think the story allows the writers to set up the characters very well. I mean, they're sort of set up in one scene where Dean tries to figure out everyone's personality or job, at which point Joey upstages him and tells everyone exactly who they are. The policeman turned criminal, the hacker, the drive-away guy, the sniper, the brute. And then Frank tells Joey who she is, the medic and former drug addict. And this is a neat little thing they do, establishing the tropes. But then all characterization sort of ends there because the rest of the movie plays out and they don't have time for all of this. So you don't really feel bad when these characters die, not like in most other films. I mean, there's still some attachment to these characters. The giant brute, the sleazy cop, the hacker, the lead, because she's the lead. But that's mostly because of how the actors are playing the characters, not because of how the story is crafted. And the film, it's so goddamn bloody. There's just so much blood splattered around everywhere. And I'm not entirely sure how to process this. I'm not usually disturbed by all the blood on movie screens. I think my mind kind of dissociates movie blood from actual blood. So it's not really a problem for me. I don't throw up, I don't shut my eyes. I'm okay. But I like the fact that there's so much blood and what the blood represents. Just the sheer hurt and death. It's fun to watch. Speaking of fun to watch, the little girl, Abigail herself, she's a treat to watch. She's just 14 and to act like she did in the film, it's phenomenal. I love how nasty and mildly unhinged her character is in the film. The sort of acting chops she demonstrates, it's a real treat. There's this one scene in the film where she's dancing with the headless corpse of one of her victims, and while slightly disturbing, I found out that this bit was improvised by the actress. I don't understand how a 14-year-old can improvise something so completely twisted. And then there's her accent. Have you heard her speak outside of the movie? She's got an accent, an Irish accent. And this accent is nothing like the accent she has in the film. I didn't even know she was Irish until I heard her speak somewhere else. I don't know about you, but if this girl can chameleon her way into a role for one film, I think she's going to do wonders in the future. Anyway, one complaint I have with the film is that we don't actually see Abigail kill anyone. The first two guys she kills, that happens off camera. And then she kills Frank with Joey's help. But that's a pretty straightforward kill. So we don't actually get to see Abigail kill anyone. I don't know if that's because the actress is a child and showing her dealing with such brutality was not something the filmmakers were comfortable dealing with. I mean, it's a horror film and brutality is sort of expected from it. But I guess it's alright if they're not dealing with the bloody horror because she's a child. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to process this. Also, this is Dan Stevens, bloody. He looks a bit unnerving, not quite sure why, but doesn't this remind you of Cassidy, the vampire from Garth Ennis's Preacher books? I'm sure the filmmakers didn't intend for him to look this way, but the similarity is uncanny. Anyway, the film nears its end and the girl's father enters the scene and almost kills Melissa Barrera. And I read somewhere that the filmmakers were hinting that this guy might be Dracula, which is a cool thing really. Dracula being the head of a criminal underworld, untouchable, evil, sounds like a nice reimagining of the character. It's fun to imagine what kind of mayhem he'd be responsible for in this world. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever get to know. Going by Radio Silence's past, I don't think sequels are their thing. Anyway, that's all I have for this episode. Don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.